Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 84, and that's show review all the comics I read this week in one show. And let's get started. 20 books, so I guess that's a normal amount these days. So let's go worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. Number 20 is, surprisingly, but not so surprisingly, Future's End, issue 40. At least it's not World's End. Usually that's always worst pick of the week. But yeah, it's Future's End, and honestly, nothing got below 3 stars, which I was really happy to see. Usually Future's End's between 2.5 to 2 stars, but this got 3 stars this week. Even though it wasn't like, oh my god, this is a great book, at least it's going to something at this point. This issue is really kind of combining these stories and seeing Earth being destroyed. So that's something I like. We get to see heroes come together, Lois kind of stare at the sky for a bit, and of course, Brainiac being this main villain and Superman coming back. So, like I said, this is an issue that just combines everything and brings the story together, which I'm very happy to see. That's something that's been my complaint to Future's End, and there's only a couple of weeks left. So, I mean, still think it's been a little bit of a waste for Future's End, but at least this issue is a bit better. And art's still pretty consistent. So, Future's End issue 40, I gave 3 stars. Okay. Next is number 19, which is Earth 2 World's End issue 18. At least it was not worst pick of the week, and it got above, I guess it got 3 stars, so above 2.5, which usually means it's a really not great book, but this did get 3 stars, and that's, again, because this felt a little bit together, I felt, with Earth 2, a little similar to Future's End. Future's End, I feel like, is going somewhere, but Earth 2, I felt, had a lot of great emotional beats here, actually. A lot more of the core team, like Lois Lane, Huntress, Thomas Wayne, and I think that's always been the strength of Earth 2, and that's when I enjoyed Earth 2 the most, when it focused on those characters, and had less focus on, Fury and Mr. Terrific, which I feel like are characters that just don't. I think Mr. Terrific goes in here. Yeah, I think so. Future's End and all that. They all combined at this point. But yeah, there's less of those characters, less of Jimmy, and more of, Huntress trying to deal with her being a Fury and dealing with that. Lois obviously still dealing with her being a robot. I liked how they dealt with it here. But yeah, Earth 2 World's End, I thought it was an improvement. It's a bit dark, the artwork. Still do think it's a little lazy at times, but it's a little bit of an improvement. I won't say it's like, oh my god, picking this up. Just an improvement of what we've been getting. So Earth 2 World's End issue 18 gets 3 stars, and that was number 19 on the list. So let's get into number 18, which is Batman Eternal issue 44. So Batman Eternal this week is a bit lower than it has been. Actually, last 2 weeks was in my top 5, and I really enjoyed it. This was a bit on the lacking side. This is about chasing the guy who took everyone out of Arkham. Get a little Stephanie in this issue that she wants to run away and tell the world about Bruce, but obviously she doesn't know the whole truth. So that's pretty much what we're getting here. I thought this was a little bit of a slower issue. Artwork was definitely not as good as what we've seen in the past. Coloring wasn't great for the issue. So overall, it just was an okay issue. Not a lot got accomplished, and just the last 2 issues definitely made me more impressed than this one. So this, getting to see the 3 weeklies together, especially Batman Eternal, but this just didn't really impress me. So Batman Eternal issue 44 gets ours, and that is number 18. All right, so let's go into number 17, which is Wolf Moon issue 3. Again, not a bad issue, just kind of more towards the bottom this week. This just kind of point A to point B issue of learning a little bit more about this werewolf, and our main character trying to hunt the werewolf, and another person obviously being possessed. And I would say that's the bit of the upsetting thing about this, is that we don't really learn much more. And this is a mini series. It's only 6 issues, and I feel like it's the same thing over and over again. Even though I like the artwork, it's still kind of cool story. I feel like this story and this series probably is a better trade read, because it's a little bit on the slower side, and like, you're interested in this werewolf story, and probably the ending will be great, but it's taken a while to get there. Maybe they could even shorten it a bit more to be a 4-issue miniseries, because at this point the story just didn't progress that much. And if this wasn't a miniseries, I probably would have dropped it at this point. But I am interested in werewolves, and that's why I'm still picking up. And I really do like the artwork. So that is why I gave Wolf Moon 3 stars this week. So that was issue 3. All right, so now we're up to number, let me double check. We're up to number 16, which is The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, issue 2. So Unbeatable Squirrel Girl wasn't a bad issue. This issue is about Squirrel Girl getting used to college life, trying to pick a club to join, having a crush, and she has to defeat Galactus. She doesn't at this point. She steals some of Iron Man's armor, but it's one thing I like about Squirrel Girl is how ridiculous this comic is. But at the same time, what I don't like about Squirrel Girl is that I have no idea where it's going to go. And I think the price tag's a bit too hefty for a ridiculous book like this. If this was $2.99, easy read, I'd be like, yeah, definitely. But honestly, Unbeatable Squirrel Girl is kind of wordy. It takes a while to kind of tell the joke. Like the Iron Man joke, I felt like lasted a bit too long. Because it's $3.99, they have to give you all these pages. And I feel if they shortened it, this would have been a definite on my pull list. And since it's kind of expensive and it's kind of long, I'm kind of debating to drop Unbeatable Squirrel Girl because it's not so impressive, but it's still fun. And if the story arc actually picks up, I think I'll keep Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. But if it's only a joke kind of book, I don't know if it's worth $3.99. I just hope the college story gets a lot better too, and we learn more about Squirrel Girl in general. And that's when I think I'll be interested to pick more of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. But I'm going to give it 1 more 2 issues to see what's going on with the series. I kind of want to feel it out a bit more. So I gave that 3 stars. All right, now we're up to number 15, which is Operation Sin, issue 2. So this is the Peggy Carter book, which actually made my top 5 the last time it came out. So it's a little bit disappointing that it went a bit low. And the reason it actually was so low on my list is because I thought it was really forgettable. I read this I think Thursday, and I read a lot of books Thursday, and then I read more books today, or Friday it is today. I read more books today, and I kind of forgot what happened in this, and that's why I put it a lot lower, because I felt like the story was just really forgettable. It just kind of meshed into all each other, and the heroes that Peggy is teaming up with weren't as interesting in this issue. I really enjoyed the first issue a bit more, but there are some really shining moments with Peggy in this issue, so that I will say to pick up because of that. I think Peggy's great here. Just kind of the supporting characters besides Howard are a little bit on the stale side, and I would say the plot is a bit on the stale side. The aliens were great in the first issue, but here it's a little unsteady and a bit forgettable. So that's why Operation Sin issue 2 got a little bit lower, but I love the artwork and I still want to see where the series goes, especially since it's a mini series. So Operation Sin issue 2, 3 stars. All right, now we're up to number 14, which is Hawkeye, issue 21. This is a series that I actually put down a bit more because of the delay. There's another series that came out in this week that I did not go against the delay because they have reasons for the delay. This was just way too long of a delay, and they didn't really give us warning to it. So Hawkeye, this issue was more of a battle than anything, a battle of this big war against the Bros, and someone does die in the end. So spoiler alert, Clint's brother dies in the end, and I thought that was a good emotional moment, but everything else kind of was very meshed together. It's just really an action issue, and there wasn't a lot of big surprises. Like if Kate ran into the issue, I felt like that would have been a surprise, but it's one of those things where, was it worth the wait? Scratch his head, probably not. So that's my problem with Hawkeye this week, but I still enjoyed it. I thought the depth was pretty good. Artwork obviously is beautiful, and I'm still excited to see where it goes, but I think hopefully last issue will be a bit better than the penultimate. So I gave Hawkeye issue 21 3.5 stars. All right, I think we're up to number 13. We are up to number 13, which is Grimm Fairy Tales, issue 107. This was an interesting issue. I really enjoyed it. Artwork is great for this series, and this issue, I would say, is a bit of a slow burn. It's building up to another story arc, but it's dealing with Ali seeing ghosts and maybe seeing I can't think of her name right now, but the water creature, the nymph's mother who died. So that's interesting, and him learning a bit more about his powers. So yes, this is a bit of a slower issue, and I would say that's why it's a bit more on the bottom. It's still a very fun issue. You know, this is gonna have a lot of information for future issues that might be really awesome. So Grimm Fairy Tales for me this week, issue 107 gets 3.5 stars. Still definitely worth picking up though. All right, so let's move on to number 12, which is Hulk, issue 11. This was a good issue. I liked it. I would say the Savage She-Hulk things lasted a bit too long. It's kind of getting episodic at this point, where it's like the same thing is happening. It's like, oh, well, I have to defeat this Hulk. I have to defeat this Hulk. But the ending is really interesting for this issue, where you get to see that the AI that Doc Green created is actually kind of overrunning Doc Green. So Doc Green is this less powerful person. So I think that's going to be interesting. And now he's going to have to team up in the next issue, which I'm really excited about. The Hulk that he's been going against. And that's something different. I feel like, again, the episodic thing is getting a little tiring, especially for a character like Savage She-Hulk. But I'm excited. It looks like, is Betty gonna like turn into something there? I don't know. That looks like Betty definitely. So I'm really excited about that because her powers were taken away. So I'm really excited for the next issue. But this issue is a really good lead up to obviously things to come. I just think this was a bit more of a filler. Well, it does progress the story, but I would say the beginning of the issue is like, oh, we've seen this before. Then you're like, all right, now we're progressing the story, and this will be very interesting to see the AI. Artwork is great for the series, though. So overall, I did like the issue. It didn't blow my mind, but I think the series in general will blow my mind in the future, especially that next issue. I'm very excited to read. So Hulk issue 11 gets 3.5 stars. And I think that was number 12. Let me make sure. That was number 12. So now we're moving into number 11, which was Postal issue 1. This is a new Image series by Brian Hill, and it's a horror mystery series. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy this series. I won't say that I was addicted to it. It wasn't a series that I was like, oh my god, I have to get the next issue. But it's like, I guess I'll get the next issue. I guess that's why I gave it a 3.5. But this issue is about this guy who is has Asperger's, and he is in this town full of murderers or people who committed crime. And surprisingly, this town has never committed a crime. Who knows why? Or never committed murder. This is the first murder that's ever happened in a town filled with criminals. So we see a body on the floor, and this guy, our main character, is probably gonna have to figure out who killed this person. And there's so many suspects because everyone's criminals. And what I liked about this probably wasn't that the murder mystery part, but kind of how unique this world is. It's this guy, a good diverse character, someone we haven't seen, a character with Asperger's, and these criminals all in the same town. And I love that they actually say everything they've done in the past and why they are criminals. I'm like, that makes sense after reading the first issue. So the one thing I will say that I would say I gave lower for Postal is that I read the summary. That's why I knew what the book was about. But if you're just reading the book, I don't know if you'll totally get that this is a place full of criminals. So I think they could have heightened that a bit more of like, oh, this is a place full of criminals. Why haven't we committed murder? I don't know, explain that a bit. So I think those plot portions should have been explained a bit more in issue 1 to set the tone of the book. But overall, I did like it. It gives me a nudge to get issue 2 to see where it goes. So Postal issue 1 for me gets 3.5 stars. That was number 11. So what is number 10? American Vampire, the second cycle. I'm a little disappointed how low this is. I wanted this to be in top 5 world because this is the first time I'm reviewing American Vampire single issue because I just caught up with the whole book. But I felt like just like Batman last week, this was a bit on the wordy side. We get to see Pearl and Skinner, and I can never think of the guy's name, who's the American Vampire. The other guy, the only other American Vampire, can't think of his name at the moment. But they go to the Vassal mystery place where there's a safe haven there, and they find Brooke. They find Book, Felicia Book, who's one of the main characters of American Vampire also, and they all have something in common, that they want to defeat this devil creature. And this devil creature is also somewhat, Russia and United States also want this devil creature and to defeat this devil creature. And that's why the space race happens and why Area 51 is created, is because of this devil creature. So I thought that was interesting to kind of connect those historical events to vampires, demons, devils. I thought that was pretty cool. And the artwork is beautiful here. And, you know, Pearl's awesome in the story, just like her attitude towards things. And it's great to see all these characters together, especially Felicia Book, because usually she's in her own world while Pearl and Skinner are doing their own thing also. So it's rare that you see them kind of collide together. So I'm happy to see that team up, because I think Felicia Book is a really interesting character because she's half human, half vampire. And I think at this point she's finally accepting that, because she even says when she's talking to Pearl and the rest, she's like, oh, vampires like us. So she knows she's a vampire. She's totally was in denial previously when she first started this. But she still hates Skinner because, you know, Skinner technically kind of made her this half vampire. But yeah, I enjoyed this issue, but I think the wordiness of explaining about Russia and America could have been explained in a different way, just like Batman and the Joker stuff. So that was my biggest complaint about American Vampire. But I'm still very excited to see where the story goes, obviously, because I really do enjoy the series. So American Vampire Second Cycle issue 6 gets 3.5 stars for me, and that was number 10. All right, so number 9 is Synergy issue 4. This is a pretty good issue. This is another issue, though, that I feel not a lot got progressed, but it's more of a point A to point B issue. But here we get to see our main character, Jess, still likes Leaf, but Leaf obviously is a monster and not really a great guy. So we're figuring out a bit more about this relationship. Are they going to backstab each other or not? And also Jess's mother kind of deciding if she wants a divorce from her husband, Jess's father. So that's interesting. I want to see where that story goes. Or will Jess tell her mother what's going on? And, you know, Jess kind of just discovering what this whole world of monsters and her being a seer. The other seers I really don't really care about. That's something I felt like is added here, and I'm like, I could live without them. I kind of want to see more Jess grow as a single character than see all these other seers. I think they could have been introduced later in the series. But overall, art fits so well for this series, and I've been really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So this might actually be a better trade brief. I'm going to see where it goes issue by issue, because I think this is a very unique book. So I gave Synergy issue 4 3.5 stars. All right, so now we're up to number 8. Number 8 was Justice Gods Among Us, issue 8. All right, that makes sense. Number 8. So I really enjoyed Injustice. This was not as good as that last issue, issue 7. That was actually my pick of the week last month. But this issue, if you're a Wonder Woman fan, I think you're going to really like, because Wonder Woman wants to get with Clark, even though Clark is still definitely not over Lois, and she has dreams about being with Clark, and it's not going to happen at this moment, at least. I heard in the video games it does happen, so I guess they're progressing to that route. And then once Wonder Woman sees how much this world has changed, she's kind of convinces Superman to take off the Sinestro ring and destroy it. And now the war is beginning. They go break into Batman's lair with Constantine and all the other characters, and this war is going to begin, and Wonder Woman's on Superman's side. So you have these power hitters like Shazam, Wonder Woman, and Superman against Batman, Constantine. Who else is on that team? Harley Quinn. So it's going to be an interesting battle, but it's definitely a setup issue to that ultimate battle, but it's a very good Wonder Woman issue. So if you're a Wonder Woman fan of the Injustice universe, I think you'll really like this. And the artwork, even though it's different artists, I think that fit really well. And really meshed together really well, so definitely no complaints of the different artists. I thought I really didn't recognize it, and that's rare when you have different artists on a book. And also going to Brian Buccellato, he took over the run for Tom Taylor now, and it felt like Tom Taylor's writing, so it didn't feel like a jump. I'm like, oh my god, what is this series? It felt very organic the way Buccellato took over the series. I'm sure Taylor gave Buccellato a lot of notes, but he did a great job kind of taking it over and not changing the feel of the book. So Injustice Gods Among Us, issue 8, gets 4 stars for me, and that was number 8. All right, let's move on to number 7, which is Lady Killer, issue 2. This is actually my top 5 last month, and it was almost in my top 5 because I really do enjoy Lady Killer. I think it has 2 more issues left. It's been a really enjoyable miniseries because of our main character being so conflicting and you not understanding this main character because she's an assassin who loves her family, and her board of assassins, the person that gives her assignments, is really trying to make her decide between her family and her job. And at this point, you know, she wants both. And it seems like she's kind of 2 different people. But at this moment, her new job is to kill a kid. So is she going to have the ability to do that, especially with her connection to her family? I have a feeling she's probably going to have to kill someone in her family next, maybe like her mother-in-law or something, and I think the husband might end up finding out. But I'm very excited to see where these next 2 issues go. The artwork fits so well. It's very pulpy. I know I don't have any artwork to show, but it's very pulpy artwork, and the action scenes look great here. And I'm really excited to see where Lady Killer goes. And this was a very solid issue, and I think we learned a lot more about the main character in this issue than we did the last. So, and that's very good because I like that conflicting personality and like, why does she do these things? We still don't really know, but you know that she actually does care about her family. It's not just a role she's playing. So Lady Killer issue 2, definitely 4 stars. All right, so let's move on to number 6. What didn't make the cut for top 5 is Miss Marvel issue 11. I'm really happy that this Inventor story arc is over because I thought that kind of held back Miss Marvel a bit. I kind of liked the fun adventure she had, and this was just a bit too long of a story arc and just not as interesting. But what I liked about this issue was, first of all, we learned that the Inventor probably wasn't the actual Inventor. We're going to learn the real Inventor in a future story arc. But what I like about it is that everyone loves Miss Marvel in this book. Even the cops. It's like, I'm glad that you worked this out. You know, you're doing a great job or whatever, and you're like taking step by step to become a hero. So I feel like everyone's kind of overprotective of Miss Marvel, but doesn't like shelter her. They're like, oh, you did a great job, and I'm glad like you're doing these little jobs, and then you'll go bigger and fight in space or something. So even like her community tries to protect her a bit. So I like that about this series and about her character in general, and I guess how other characters interact with her. They shelter her a lot, but still make her do stuff. In this issue, artwork is great for this series. I think it fits it so well. And I like that Miss Marvel is always learning something in every issue. She's still a new hero, and she learns that she needs help. She needs kind of a team to work with, and she needs help from her community. She needs help from her friends, and she's just discovering what it means to be Miss Marvel, and you get that a lot here. It's a very solid issue, and I'm excited for the story arc to be over, of course. I still don't love the Inventor stuff, but it was still a very solid issue, and like I said, I'm glad that Miss Marvel learned stuff in the end. So Miss Marvel issue 11 gets 4 stars. All right, now we're going to top 5. Number 5 is Black Vortex Alpha issue 1. I enjoyed this, honestly. I thought this was a really good setup and something different from these crossovers with Guardians of the Galaxy and X-Men. I was expecting with Black Vortex, because usually when you have an object that's really special to people, it's usually just that. It doesn't really do anything. You just know it's special. And with Black Vortex, it actually does something to your characters. It's a mirror that makes you look better, and I guess if you go through it, you become stronger, more evolved. It reminds me of the X-Men Evolution story with Cyclops. Like, he goes through some machine and he becomes better. He's able to see and not wear the glasses to have his laser beams. So it reminds me a lot of that arc where you become your better self. And do you want that? What happens when you become your better self? Especially with a mutant, like what happens when you're intangible? What power do you get past that? What makes you more special? So I'm excited to see where this goes and how this tempts people. Power obviously tempts people. And again, it's finally an object that actually does something. You understand why they want this object. And there's a lot of fun moments between the Guardians, having game night, people making fun of Kitty dating all these Peters. It ended up that Kitty had a hamster named Peter, so she's very obsessed with the name. But overall, I thought the chemistry was really well done here, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It was a very good setup issue. Artwork's beautiful for the series. Really enjoyed the artwork. So I'm excited to see where Black Vortex goes. I just hope it doesn't, become too long and lengthy and it drags. It's kind of the worry always with these type of story arcs. But overall, I give Black Vortex issue 1 4 stars. Now it's number 5. All right, now we're moving on to number 4, which is Flash, Season 0, Issue 5. So Flash, I usually don't get this series because I'm already picking up Arrow. I'm already picking up Arrow, and I was like, do I need Flash? Like, I like the series, but I don't know if I like it enough to give the tie-in, especially since with Arrow, it's between a season, so you're getting a lot of information. This, I thought, was just going to be one-shot stuff that doesn't give a lot of information about the show, but this issue I had to get because it was, Flash teaming up with Felicity, so I was like, all right, I'll get the issue, and I really enjoyed it. We get to see Flash team up with Felicity, and some people want to attack Felicity. Really great artwork here, too. And it's very much a good Felicity, a good balance of snark, but at the same time, personality. Again, one of my problems with Green Arrow is that Felicity has snark, but pretty much too much snark, too many one-liners, and it doesn't balance out right. And I think in Flash and Arrow, it balances out a bit more. And I think it's the same writer too. Kreisberg writes both titles, Green Arrow and Flash Season 0. But I thought her balance was a bit better here, but maybe they're just trying to do that with Green Arrow for a different reason. But this issue is really fun. I liked it because Barry and obviously Felicity have great chemistry, and it's interesting to see Felicity in harm's way because of her hacking abilities, and we'll see where that goes. But it was an interesting team up. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun issue. So Flash Season 0 for me gets 4 stars. Now it's number 4 on the list. All right, so let's move on to number 3. Tales of Terror, issue 7. Yeah, this is a really good issue. I enjoyed this one. It's Bloody Mary. So you find out the creepiness of this story, that this girl named Mary, her mother dies, and you find out who the killer is. And you find out that the Bloody Mary that she sees in the mirror is actually her mother, who's also named Mary, and she was killed by her father, even though she thought her aunt killed her, and her aunt was a good person. Her father was the bad one, and who wasn't actually her father. So there was a lot of great twists here. It's very creepy, and it gave a good twist on a story that everyone pretty much knows, a urban legend everyone knows, and again, it gave a kind of unique and modern twist to it. So Tales of Terror issue 7 was creepy, and that's what I like about Tales of Terror, and that's when it's at its best. It's a creepy one-shot story, and I rarely like these one-shot type series, but every issue keeps making me want to come back because they always have a good, creepy, different type story. So Tales of Terror issue 7 gets 4 stars for me, and that was number 3. All right, number 2 is Ant-Man issue 2. Didn't make number 1 this week. No. Ant-Man, this was a really good issue. Artwork is obviously beautiful for this series. I still love the artwork. And here it's Scott Lang trying to get a job, of course, and him trying to get money, not being possible, but he's able to get money after some hijinks in the issue, and he's making his own business of trying to help people with security because he's obviously very good at breaking into things. So he'd probably be good at protecting things also, and making other people not break into organizations and I guess rich people's stuff. I like this issue. It was a very solid issue. I like the adventure. I like the hijinks. I would say why this was a bit lower. I'm still upset about the Cassie thing. That Cassie, like, they're kind of ignoring the whole Cassie Young Avengers thing. And, I understand Nick Spencer wants to give this to new readers, whatever. And I understand that. But I kind of wish that he would give us, like, a little wink. It says, yeah, it's coming. Don't worry. Cassie has her powers. I want a little wink. And I know he said on Tumblr that, she does have her powers. She's not de-aged. I'm glad that they made that point. But I hope in the next couple issues you get a little bit more of hints that, yeah, she was Stature. You don't have to make the whole story about her being Stature, but give us little hints as old fans that she was Stature. I don't think that would confuse newer readers. And how do you introduce her powers at all if you don't want to confuse them? So I'm hoping next story arc, and once they get kind of used to this series, we will get a little bit more of Cassie exploring her powers, her past, and if she wants to be a hero or not. So I rather had a little bit more Cassie here, but I did enjoy the issue. It was very solid. I enjoy the hijinks, and I still love Scott Lang. I love his personality, and I'm very excited to see where Ant-Man goes. So Ant-Man issue 2 is number 2 on the list. All right, so what made pick of the week is Green Arrow issue 39. I really enjoyed this issue. Artwork for the series, so good. Action for the series, even better. The story here was really interesting. even I would say the reason I didn't give this 5 stars, though, I still think Felicity, like I was saying before, Felicity's one-liners are a bit too forced. That's something that does take me out of the issue, but I'm still really enjoying Felicity's character, that she's committed so many crimes at this point with her hacking that she goes to jail, and Cheetah does not like Felicity because of old times, so they have a fight, but Green Arrow is able to get some help from Steve Trevor to get Felicity out of jail, and now they're going to have to get King, Mia Dearden's father, and fight him. So now we get to see, why can't I get to that page, some help comes in. You have Cupid, which is the only person I don't like here. But if you're a fan of Lemire's run, you have the girl who helped. I don't remember her name. You have Roy. You have Amiko. So it's kind of cool. If you like Lemire's run, you're getting some nods to that. You get some Justice League nods here. Katana. So I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this issue. I liked that they fleshed out Felicity a bit more, even though they had the one-liners, especially towards the beginning. A lot of great action. King's an awesome villain. And I want to mention Mia, because Mia, this made the issue for me also, even though it was like one page. King is describing to Mia as like, oh, well, we want the best for kids. We want the best for everybody. But to do that, we have to kill off the older people, the people that are sick. We want like kind of this utopia. And Mia's like, well, then you're going to have to kill me too, because I'm sick. So if you're a pre-New 52 fan and a Mia Dearden fan, you probably know that Mia had HIV. So they're pretty much giving that nod in this issue that she's sick. She has HIV, and I'm glad they are tying Mia Dearden's story so well in this series. And it's a shame that this great team is going to leave after Convergence. But I'm so excited to see what they do with Mia. I love what they're doing, how they're keeping the pre-New 52 stuff, but still giving so many nice twists to Mia. That's what the New 52 should always be about. So I really enjoyed this issue. Again, the only reason I didn't give it a 5-star was because of the Felicity stuff, but this was a very well done issue, and I'm glad that this series is back on track after the kind of weaker Green Lantern issue. So Green Arrow issue 39, I gave pick of the week, so definitely pick it up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, I'll have Comic Uno episode 85 next week. This is Comic Uno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links from my comic book, Like Father Like Daughter. Don't forget to like the Facebook for Like Father Like Daughter. And I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.